I'm Adrienne Hines. I've spent 20 years fighting the insurance companies, corporations, and the legal system.
And I'm Kristen Paris. I'm navigating divorce, digital business, and life on the farm without a map.
Here, we are stripping away the polite conversation. We're talking about the money,
The mess.
and the legal traps trying to ruin your life.
Welcome to season 3 of High Heels and Hay Bales. Okay, I just saw this video from the comedian Louis Black talking about ICE agents getting a $50,000 sign-on bonus. And I was like, hold on, wait a minute. 50 grand. Uh, I'd be willing to sign up for that job. I mean, if I could get a $50,000 bonus and then maybe
Kristen,
I
you
just,
are not signing up for ICE anytime soon. Are you serious?
have you seen what they hire? I could do it. And I would set people free and I'd probably get fired really fast. But for 50 grand, that's a life raft.
$1,000 is a life raft in this economy right now. I get that. I mean, like, what would you do right now with like $35,000 after tax? I mean, 50 grand, $35,000 after taxes. What's the first thing you would do with it?
I'd pay off my car, probably. Or, man, I could do a lot with 35 grand.
Yeah,
But
I'm
I
sure you.
don't think it would work like that though. Because this comedian was like, it's 50 grand, but it's 10 grand a year. It's like a layaway plan, you know?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Mm-hmm.
and I've seen some posts about this ICE. I've seen some posts about people saying that ICE is giving a bonus. I heard the $50,000 number too. And I was a little surprised because when I was like looking at these things, the comments didn't say things like, ew, ICE. The comments were like, where do I sign up? How fast do you get the money? And I know that that means that people are desperate right now, and this obviously is working. I mean, look, you heard a comedian say it, and you're wondering in your own mind, is this something maybe I should sign up for? And I think people, no matter how they feel about this, money is money, right?
Right. I mean, I would do a lot of dirty things for 50 grand. I don't know that I could do that job specifically just because of how dirty that is. But 50 grand, man.
Let me just stop you right here for a moment. I just want to remind our audience that we did an episode either in our first or second season about some of the craziest jobs we had. And I don't even want to tell everybody. I want them to go find it. We'll put the episode, season, and number in the notes here so everyone can find it directly. But you guys got to go listen to that, because if you knew the things that Kristen has done for money in the past, you you would not be surprised at all that she would be giving this some thought. But you would also then be surprised that she probably would not take 50 grand, just by virtue of the fact that the things that she's done. I think it's
Uh,
hilarious.
I really did forget about that episode. So, yeah, y'all knew. If you're a listener for a long time, you do know I would definitely do some dirty things for good
You've
amounts
done
of
some
money.
dirty things for money, my friend. You've done hashtag she's done dirty things for money. Nothing illegal. I mean, I want to say you haven't done anything illegal, but you guys got to go find that episode. So, yeah, I think a lot of people would set aside how they think about a lot of things in order to make money. We all do. I think we all do. When none of us are completely aligned with everything our employers, believe, we do what we got to do to make money. And I don't think that this is any different. But I do want you to know, Kristen, that when I hear something like $50,000 bonus, I don't hear free money. I hear a trap. And we actually call this something called a golden handcuff. And that's what we call this in the legal world. It's got a name and everything.
Wow.
Yeah. Did you even know that? It's got a
I had
name.
no idea.
If it's a golden handcuff, that probably means that it ain't great, right? There's gonna be something going on here. Well, anything that sounds too good to be true probably is, right? Think about if you've ever been offered to go on a vacation so that somebody can try to sell you a timeshare. That's a lot what a golden handcuff trap really is. It is, you think that you're the one that's getting the better end of the deal, and at the end of the day, you realize you are not getting the better end of the deal, that this is a system and you're being chewed up and churned out in it. And that's really what it is. It's not a bonus. It's called a leash.
Well, my father worked in radio, and when he had switched from one station to another, they offered him a moving bonus and kind of a sign on bonus kind of thing. So I do have some sort of an idea because it was written in his contract. And if he didn't do something, I don't know, stay there for a certain amount of time, there were some legal ramifications to this.
Well, what that's the reality, and that's the part that I think so many people are not understanding about this. This is why these types of bonuses work initially to get people in, but they never really fulfill the dreams, the hopes and dreams of the people who are signing up for them. So, I mean, think about it. And I did a little bit of a deep dive on this $50,000 bonus offer by the federal government right now to bring in ICE agents, and that $50,000 is actually paid over 4 years, and it's paid like $10,000 after the first 90 days, and then it's paid $10,000 again at the end of 1 year, and then at the end of 2 years, and then at the end of 3 years, 90, 1, 2, 3, yeah, and then at the end of 4 years. So that's a total of $50,000. But there's always consequences here. There's a huge trade-off, but we're really talking now about $50,000 over the course of 5 years. That's a long time. 4 years. That's a long time to wait for the money. It's a long time to wait to get it all. What do you have to do in the meantime?
Right. There's going to be, there's got to be quotas. You've got to stick with the job. You've got to do things to make that extra money, right?
Well, what you don't realize is it's not just that there will be expectations of you, but if you don't meet those expectations, this is a loan. It's a promissory note. They're handing you the money, but if you don't meet all the parameters, if you don't finish the employment term, or if you don't meet certain standards along the way, then you have to pay the money back,
Like a payday loan.
like a payday loan. This is very much like a payday loan. If you are not going if you don't end up staying there, it's it's money to you if you end up staying there for 4 full years, right? And we see this in a lot of different industries, but right now we're just talking about this one. But yeah, I mean, if you knew that you might have to pay this back, or I mean, do you still feel the same way about it?
No,
Okay.
not at all.
Okay. Well, if you think, I'm not a Fed, right? I'm not going to be going to sign up for ICE, so I don't have to really worry about this. This is actually a big problem everywhere. For example, we came out of COVID, nurses, right? Nurses all over the place being offered bonuses, traveling bonuses, da da da. And you see, I have friends who are in industries that they, get placed places. They get $15,000 for training. If you quit or you find out that they're doing work you are not aligned with, you owe the money back. And it can be and that's why we call it the golden handcuffs, because their whole goal is to make you reliant upon them and unable to leave. Make it so that you financially cannot leave them. That's why it's called the golden handcuffs.
That makes sense. I know, like I said before, my dad was in radio. I know they did like a moving package, and his stuff was set into his contract. And truckers are the same.
Yeah.
They do, you know, paying for whatever your CDL trading, relocation packages, and they know that you're going to spend the money and that you're not going to be able to pay it back. That's a pretty messy business model.
So that's it. You really hit the nail on the head. If I'm an employer and I want somebody to be loyal to me, I'm gonna I'm gonna give them 10 grand, and then I'm gonna say, I know they need it. I know they're desperate. I know that they're struggling. right? It's not all that different from a credit card giving you sending you, or increasing your limit. But as an employer, if I'm having trouble finding people to do the job because it's hard or difficult or controversial, um, if I offer you something that I know you need and then you use it and I know that you can't afford to go give it back to me, you are trapped with me. It sounds like such a great thing. Oh, I'm getting a bonus. Oh, I'm getting this. It really is a trap. And everybody who is thinking about something like this, whether you're a nurse, whether you're a trucker, whether you're an engineer being moved across the country, you need to understand what this means for you and really how this is going to start to make people really uncomfortable, right?
Why would somebody walk away from 50 grand? Right? That's a question that I know I would have. I have. It's because the job is impossible. When you look at all of what it encompasses and what you are putting on the line, no matter what the job is, you have to know what you're walking into.
So let's talk very specifically about this ICE offer of $50,000. I did a little bit of research. Wall Street Journal, Axios, both have some information on this. And I think one of the things that everybody needs to hear is that in the requirement appears to be 3,000 arrests per day. Globally speaking, all ICE agents collectively, as a whole, there is an expectation that they are arresting 3,000 people per day. Now, there's no absolute quotas here, okay? I want to make sure it's clear there's no quota. Like each individual ICE agent doesn't appear to, at least as far as we know, have a requirement to arrest a certain number of people. I presume that their unit probably does, right? If it's 3,000 nationwide and they're all, and they're going to Springfield, Ohio, or they're going to Minneapolis, then there's going to be expectations, right? And so understanding the expectations is really important. And in the ICE world, 1,000 people per day is about 600% over and above what normal expectations were before this year. So you would need to know, right, that you don't get paid the first $10,000 until you're there 90 days. And in that 90 days, you have to be participating in the arrest of a certain number of individuals, right? And you got to be okay with that. You got to be okay with that. And that one's tough.
Yeah. I'm already having a hard time because of how I feel about all of this.
Oh,
And
no, you're
it
doing great.
makes,
I'm so proud of you too. I'm really proud of you because I know this is a hard topic because you've got very, very strong opinions about this. And I honor and respect those and I know that many people in our audience do too. And it's important, to understand what's going on here. That's why we're talking
right.
about it.
Exactly. And honestly, I mean, I will say this, it's disgusting. That's it. I would have to walk away from 50 grand entirely and not even get of it. I mean, when I joke about, yeah, I thought about it, there's no way in hell you could make me 100 grand. No, it's not going to happen. Your boss says get 8 arrests or you're fired. It's a quota, but they're calling it a benchmark. Like the numbers are all over the place, and we don't have specific numbers in front of us. We don't have the contract in front of us to look at to be absolutely specific. But this isn't just ice. This is for anything with a big sign-on bonus or anything like that. It's it's a lot, and there are loopholes to this, which makes my stomach turn even more. Bad arrests count.
Yeah, I think that was tough. That was tough to learn. When I was doing the research on this, apparently the stated goal is 3,000 arrests per day nationwide, and apparently according to the reports that we're using, and again, whatever you think about Wall Street Journal or Axios, these are some of the sources that I was using. Go do your own research, but this does appear to be the case. Apparently, it does not matter if charges stick or if they're released, which is very concerning. And so when we're coming back to the why would the federal government have to offer $50,000? I mean, why is it that they have to throw something out at people that is so, you know, shiny and bright and shiny? So you don't look at the details. The bigger the bonus, the more suspicious you should be. No matter what the industry is, right? If there's going to give you a $50,000 signing bonus to go to, a remote town in Canada to work on a pipeline, you damn well better expect it to be pretty bad, because $50,000 is a lot of money, and you don't get shit for free. So what are you trading for this? And are you sure that it's worth it? For many people, it might be. And I really want to honor and respect the people who truly are desperate, who would do whatever they needed to do to make money for their family. And if this is what they need to do to make money for their family, then maybe signing up for ICE is for you. But you need to know really the consequences here. And I know how my friend Kristen feels about it. She would not like you if you did that.
No. And here's the thing, like, the bad part of this, again, it's they're the shiny $50,000. eh, You're signing away your conscience just to hit a number on a spreadsheet. You are signing away your humanity to hit a number on a spreadsheet.
I don't think most people understand that though when they sign up. And that's what I'm saying. And so, I'm certainly not belittling or berating anybody who didn't have a job, who doesn't have a job and needs a way to find a way to pay their mortgage and take care of their family. But I think what I am trying to convey here is that you should be very suspicious when somebody has to offer $50,000 for people to come in and do a job, because it ain't going to be nearly as simple as you think. And if it's not physically or intellectually difficult, then it's going to then it's going to have some moral dilemma associated with it. That's why people pay money. They pay money either because you're brilliant, because you're physically capable of doing something they are not, or because you are desperate.
Exactly. It's like, honestly, telling a nurse that, here's 50 grand for your job for 5 years, but every day you have to see 50 patients
Yeah.
and you just have to churn out the numbers. She can't do a good
Or
job.
or or every day you have to admit 50 people, even if and you have to admit 50 people, even if they turn around and walk right out of the hospital and there's nothing
Exactly.
wrong with them. Like
Mhm.
that's kind of the craziness of this analogy. But I presume that if you are a nurse being offered a $50,000 bonus somewhere, you're going to have some quotas of some type. You're going to have standards that are going to be very, very difficult to meet. And they're going to be difficult because they don't really want to pay you that money moving forward. They just want to get a body in the job, and they want to find a reason to not have to pay you the bonuses and everything moving forward, but still keep you there. That's really why they call it golden handcuffs, because you don't want to quit or leave, even if you're miserable, because then you have to pay them back. That's the frustrating part. It's really a management versus employee thing. And if you as an employee are going in, no matter what the industry is, you do not understand what is going to be asked of you, the sacrifices you're going to make, either intellectually, physically, or morally, then you need to ask yourself, why are they paying this kind of money? Whatever it is. And if they're paying you money because nobody wants to drive a truck from New York to California once a week, well, and you're willing to do that, knock yourself out. More power to you. If you arrest somebody and they get released an hour later, you still get credit for it. That's good, but I do think at the end of the day, your employer might be asking you to act against your own conscience just to hit a spreadsheet, and that's really important. Um, think about that nurse Is she really supposed to be admitting all those 50 people? How does that help society? How is that helping us? Who's really benefiting from there? And there's a bigger, there's a bigger thing to think about.
Okay. So you hate the job. You want to quit. Why don't you just walk out the doors?
Ooh, well, we kind of talked a little bit about that because most people spent the money, right? I mean, if you get $10,000 today, it's probably going to be gone in a couple of weeks, right?
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean, for the most part, especially if you needed it, if that's why you took the job, right? You needed it, right? But you didn't invest it. You probably fixed the transmission or you pay a credit card. And so, what happens if you want to leave that job? What do you do?
I don't know. What do you do?
Well, you're stuck and you need to understand the consequences of what you've done because what happens is in a situation like this, you're signing for usually a contracted period of time, right? So this ICE thing is for 4 years from the date you're hired through 4 years. First off, if you're signing today, will ICE even exist in 4 years? I don't know. I mean, that's a crapshoot. You might not get your last couple of payments. So you need to think about administrations. You need to think about the politics in America and how that could affect whether or not you're going to get, what you've signed up for. But if you choose to leave or you get a better job or you want to move or your wife says this is crazy, why are you pulling people out of the cars and you're like I'm done, you have to write a check. You got to write a check back to them. And so that's why they did it, so that you won't easily leave. Because just like a credit card company will trap you by giving you more credit than they know you can handle, that's the reason they did it. So that they lock you in and you're paying them compounding interest. This concept is the same with an employer, with a hospital, with the Department of Justice, with the trucking company. They're keeping you trapped so that they can control you and you don't have freedom of movement. Mm,
Exactly. You don't have the cash. So you walk back to your desk and you are now working for free just to pay off a debt from 2 years ago.
yeah, it's called indentured servitude. You've
Yeah,
become an indentured servant. If anybody wants to know,
exactly.
that's exactly what you're done. It's called the trap. And when I call it a trap at the beginning, I meant it because we call it a training repayment agreement provision. It is golden handcuffs. It is a trap and it locks you in. And it is what prevents people from being able to leave. And could you imagine? I mean, could you imagine getting in there and being in there, being in any job 6 months and hating it? And then thinking, oh my God, I've got to stay in this job for another 3.5 years, or else I have to write them a check.
I know it is contractual. There are loopholes and things like that. I don't know what the contract looks like. I don't know if you do such a bad job and they fire you, what the repayment is on that. I don't know. Is there a repayment? And I mean, realistically, if let's say it says, you get your first $10,000 at the end of your first year, I'm going to bring this up. The person in charge of this administration is known for not paying their bills and not paying their employees. So is there really any guarantee that you're actually going to see 10, 20, 30, 50 grand from any of this? You're going to be pulling people's families apart and, sending people to countries they don't belong in and just for the promise of money that's probably not going to show up.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of what ifs. There's definitely a lot of what ifs out there. It's not just the fact that you have to stay, but what we also don't know is what you have to do in order to meet the parameters to get the money. So you get the first 10,000 after 90 days. You get the first 10,000 after 90 days, but only if you've made us participated in a certain number of arrests. We don't know that. There are always very simple ways that an employer can deny you the thing that you thought you were getting, right? By performance and performance reviews and those types of things. So I don't know what's in these contracts. That is a whole, but you're talking about having to stay on the good side of, a system that is highly in flux, right? And you don't even know what side that's going to be. So you're putting a lot of faith into a system that hasn't shown that it's going to even be able to provide that for you as you continue to go. Do you like my legal talk? You see how I'm able to talk around things a little bit? See that?
Yeah, because I'm not.
Yeah, I
This
if
is a
anybody's
hard one.
watching us if anybody's watching us on YouTube, we obviously we do publish our video on YouTube. You will see, I think Kristen is about ready to she's about ready to blow her gasket right now because I know how she feels about this topic. And I wanted to make sure everybody understands the seriousness of this and the fact that it plays out in other industries, but I can see that we're very, very locked in on this right now.
Right. And all right. So here's the thing. Most people think they're stuck because they signed a contract. Like I said before, it's all a contract. People think that employer debt is special, student loans or child support. Mm, Adrian, what do you
It
think?
it's I am here to tell you it's not special. And thank you for asking, Kristen. Because owing money to your employer, in this type of situation, you only owe if you leave, right? So you either don't get it because you didn't meet the parameters, or you get it and then you would have to pay it back if you got fired or you left, right? That's generally how these things work. So it's not special debt, all right? If any of you guys follow, the bankruptcy side of me, it is the bottom. It is the kind of debt that goes away in bankruptcy. We call it general unsecured non-priority debt, which basically means it's not a priority. It's not important, right? We don't place your money you owe your employer at a higher level than money you owe Capital One. Okay. So it's just like owing a credit card in most circumstances. Now, if you are a nurse, if you are a truck driver and you want to get out of one of these contracts, you quit your job and your employer is chasing you for the money or is suing you for the money, we file bankruptcy. We treat these debts the same way we would treat the type of debt that can go away in bankruptcy. Now, I do want to say I haven't done much research on this, and I could see the federal government claiming that they are the federal government because priority debts are debts to the government, right? So I could see where that could be something that the Department of Justice would argue. However, I do want people to hear me say that my understanding of all my years of practicing law and the way I believe this would play out is that it's dischargeable in bankruptcy because golden handcuffs are dischargeable in bankruptcy. And it's really designed to allow people the freedom of movement. So I think that we would be able to get rid of it in bankruptcy. And I want people in the nursing and the trucking and all the other, the engineerings and all the other worlds that are getting kind of screwed in this lane and not in the ice lane to understand that you have options too. It's like owing a credit card. And we've got solutions for that.
All right. So
Uh,
the nuclear option, if the job is destroying you or you decide to grow your conscious back after being an ICE agent, whatever. Anyway, the job is destroying you. The steps are what, Adrian?
Quit your job. Save your sanity. You got to start by quitting. Go find another job, right? Make sure you're hedging your bets. Let them send you a bill. I strongly believe, for example, um, this ICE thing is going to solve its own problem. I think that, it will be dismantled at some point in the future, or people, will start to fall apart, or they won't get the funding for it. I mean, you're signing something hoping that Congress is going to sign funding, 3 years down the road. I think that something like this, I do think that there's going to be little ways it's just going to solve its own self. And if it doesn't, bankruptcy is going to be an easy and simple solution for most people. But you want to think about this, right? Like if you know that you're going to quit your job and you know that, as a bankruptcy lawyer, we want to file bankruptcy for you before you get another job. So timing and strategy is important. But yeah, this usually involves walking away, quitting your job, waiting for them to bill you. And when they bill you, you hire an attorney and try to negotiate something that you can all live with, or you file for bankruptcy. But that's what we're looking at here.
Seems like the best option. I mean, I hate to say it, you blow 50 grand and get rid of it. That's almost like
But
an
you're not getting
ultimate.
but you're not getting 50 grand. You get 10 grand after the first 90 days. And after you pay taxes on it, it's like 7, and you piss it away so fast that now you're just hanging on for another 9 months hoping to get that next 10 grand, which is gonna be 7 after taxes that you're gonna blow around the holidays because 'cause it'll be the end of the year, and then you're gonna wait a whole 'nother year, and all along the way, we'll see. We'll see what's happening with this
So,
whole thing.
so the moral of the story is don't work for a corrupt ass government and destroy people's lives. That's all I'm gonna say. That's all I'm gonna say.
I'm hoping that when we're done here, people will understand that they have more power and more autonomy than they realized. As somebody who cares a lot about helping people understand the world, the financial world in which they're existing, it's important to know what what this means for you. What is a sign-on bonus? Even if it's not ICE, and we have opinions about ICE, what does this mean and what can you do? Because not taking the job in the beginning and the most helpful thing you can do if it's going to turn out to be a bad choice for you. But a lot of people don't have that luxury and they've already taken the job. So I want to talk to those ICE agents out there who are getting on their stuff every day and putting on their masks and looking at their spouse's eyes going, "Why are you doing this?" And you're saying, "'Cause I need the money and I can't quit because I gotta pay him." I'm just here to tell you that, I'm personally gonna offer a discount in my law firm for any former ICE agents who want to file for bankruptcy. But at the end of the day, there are solutions here, and you do not have to sacrifice your humanity or, your family. I'm diverging again here now to the nurses, to the pilots, to the whatevers. If it's not right for you, it's okay to stop and back out and walk away. You have to understand your own autonomy, and you have to understand how not to allow somebody else to trap you into a job that you shouldn't be doing or that you can't do or that you don't want to do, right?
To be fair here, when we talked about this episode, yes, strong feelings about that specific one job. But in reality, I had no idea that filing bankruptcy would also take care of that employer debt. I did not know that. And that was something that we both agreed was very important to talk about because again, so many people don't know exactly what debts are included in bankruptcy and what you can actually get taken care of in that bankruptcy. And this is one thing. Again, nurses, truckers, pilots, whatever, you have that sign-on bonus, you're miserable, you've got to go, your life changes. Even if you're terrified of bankruptcy, it's an option to get you out of being completely screwed, paying back even more money because you thought you were taking a job that would benefit your family.
Yeah, and let's be clear. I mean, would you rather have a 700 credit score and be miserable or suicidal for 3 straight years? Or are you willing to take a temporary hit down to like 580 for a couple of months and be free from this job tomorrow and be someplace else with all your debts behind you with a new life in front of you 6 months from now, right? Like these are the trade-offs. They're serious trade-offs and they're important. As somebody who, made a huge change in my own career a couple of years ago, it doesn't have to be so dramatic as working for ICE. You can be patently unhappy where you're at or feeling like you're not, you're trapped with the trap, right? And I just want people to understand that you do have more control over your life than you realize, whether you're an ICE agent or a nurse. You have choices here. And if you're unhappy or if you're sacrificing your family or if this is not authentically who you are, then you have options. And your mental health is an asset. And, just we don't want you lighting it on fire for a FICO score, right? It's not worth
Right.
it.
And everybody needs to understand this. Your credit score isn't as important as you think it is.
It
Stop
isn't.
letting your credit score run your freaking life.
Yeah, and God, I hate I always I know I beat the bankruptcy drum so much. I've been talking about it a lot lately. I am a bankruptcy lawyer. I get it. But I just want to say again, for those people who don't follow me or who don't know who I am and don't understand what bankruptcy is a solution to a problem people already have. And it doesn't ruin your credit score. It doesn't ruin your life. Debt does. Okay. Debt is what's ruining your credit score. Debt is what ruins your life. The anxiety, all of those things. Bankruptcy is a safe and legal solution to that problem. And my clients, this, can buy cars very quick. The day after we file, their credit scores are 720 by the time that they're 12 to 24 months out of the bankruptcy, oftentimes sooner. And they can, have lines of credit open and they can buy a house in 2 to 4 years. So bankruptcy most certainly is not the end. And I want people to hear that in case they didn't know that, because there's no reason to stay at a place that you are unhappy, no matter what the job is. Obviously, Kristen and I have opinions about this particular job. For those of you who follow us, you're not surprised that that's how we feel. But even if that's not what you were talking about, it's so important. And I want people to hear that your autonomy is valuable. It's valuable to be able to say, this is what I choose. And we are supposed to have freedom of employment. We're supposed to be able to leave this job and go to another job. If we find another one we like, we don't have to pay our former employer. That's not how it works in America. And so anytime that relationship is being changed, you have to ask yourself, what are you giving up? And at the end of the day, there are always solutions here, and you don't have to stay in a job that's not serving you, no matter what it is.
Exactly. Don't, yeah. Everything Adrienne said, that, yeah.
Well, what advice would I give to somebody who said, "I'm a big fan of ice and I want to go do my American duty as they think that it is?" I would have some advice for that person. All right, let's for the sake of Kristen's mental health, let's change the example. Let's change the example to a nurse, okay? If I had a nurse or I had a trucker or I had somebody calling me up saying, "Hey, I'm being offered this bonus to go work." What would my advice be? My first piece of advice would be to put the entire bonus into a high yield savings account and not touch it. Don't pay the taxes on it. Don't do anything until the end of the year. Don't touch it. That's number one. If you can afford to receive it and put it in the high yield savings account and not touch it, then that's exactly what you should do. If you cannot afford to do that, then you should give a second thought as to whether or not, this is going to be the right job for you. I really feel that way. Because
Yeah.
if you can't live with giving it back, then that means that you're not giving yourself the opportunity to determine whether or not this job is right for you. You have to go into the job with the ability to not spend that money to determine if this is the right job for you. And that's the discipline that most people don't have. That's what you need if you're being offered a bonus like that.
And I also think if you're going to sign a contract and you don't know enough about contracts to understand what you are about to sign away, find a freaking lawyer and have them just look it over and put it into
Yeah.
plain English for you, because you aren't going to know 100% whether, after 90 days, is that $10,000 mine and I don't have to worry about it? Or is it a year? Or how long do I have to be here? Some contracts spell it out and some use sneaky legalese. So make sure you have a lawyer look over your contract.
And if the employer won't provide the contract for you to allow a lawyer to look it over, then that is a red flag. That means something nefarious is going on. Absolutely. If you are not provided the opportunity to review it with an attorney, That is the biggest red flag I could possibly ever wave for you. And I've had clients like this. I've had clients who've been told to sign something right here, right now, right in front of us. No, 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 no. I want to talk to a lawyer. No, we're not going to let then the offer's over. Anybody, if they're not letting you have a lawyer look it over, that is hugely suspect. Big, big red flag. And, this money isn't designed to be for a boat. It is your exit strategy. If the job goes toxic, no matter what the job is, you need to be able to write the check and walk away. That's how you unlock the handcuffs, right? Don't spend it until it's yours and you don't ever have to give it back. That's the only way to do this and to save yourself. That's what I think.
Absolutely. Yep. Listen, 3,000 arrests is a machine. Do not look at the shiny object dangling in front of you and get chewed up and caught in this trap.
Yeah, contracts can be broken. They're broken every single day, and we can navigate this. You always have an exit. You probably have a very strong legal basis to defend why you shouldn't have to pay this back. So, I really want to urge people to talk to a lawyer and do not sacrifice your own dignity, self value, family for a job that's not serving you. It is we're past that at this point.
Yep. No matter what the job, don't let it destroy your your humanity.
We hope you feel a little smarter and a little less alone than you did just 40 minutes ago.
If you learned something, leave us a review or share this with a friend who needs the truth.
Don't sign anything until you read the fine print.
And watch where you stop. See you next week.